Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we begin, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku. We also had Endeavor. Now, these two, they got a distress call from the Manor group. And Endeavor, the moment his son called him over the phone, he came running. However, he also talked to Deku. He went and delivered a message, and this was not something that he expected. I mean, his son wanted to hold him to the highest level of secrecy possible. He didn't know what to expect. But whenever he went to UA, he saw a man leading an army of zombies and using a quirk. He met a smart zombie. However, this was unprecedented. He's able to control the undead, and that Endeavor was highly confused by. Deku is more coherent than some of the things he's heard about them, and this was definitely intriguing. Now, Bakugo, Katsuki, and the group, they were trying to figure out how to handle the Night Stalker, and a lot of conclusions they've thought of don't work. Lighting it on fire will piss it off. If they try to run, it will follow them. It was chasing people from the tower, and it picked off a majority of that group before they were able to drive it away. If this is the same creature, they've definitely made it mad. It's holding a grudge. It's smart and intelligent. Plus, it will probably block out some of the signals they try to get out. So, they're stuck. The moment night falls, it might try to come out here, come inside the manor. And that was a very big problem. However, whenever they got to the manor, Bakugo, he was still trying to figure out what to do. He's been awake for a lot longer than he would like to be, and he might be on the verge of crashing. However, he's trying to see this through to the very end. Make sure this thing is down before he can rest properly and get his injuries taken care of. And with that being said, we do have Deku, along with Endeavor, Lady Gaunt, and a few other people with weapons, and a Humvee. Now, Deku, he is looking around. The road is still cleared, like how they had it before. There is the undead. However, Deku is trying to use his nose to find anything. Find a scent he can pick up on, a trail maybe, but he just smells the rot. There's undead everywhere. And the man, Endeavor, he does get to walk up. Right on him with a massive machine gun on his shoulder. Asking Izuku, currently putting it up, about exactly what the hell is going on. Hmm? With what? You're worried about them, but you're not one of them. You were, weren't you? I've heard a lot of things. You were the former leader? I was. Let's leave it at that. Your face. You weren't covering it before. Worried someone will recognize you? Most of them know. Most of. What are you? What do you mean? Zombie? Human? You are acting differently. Most creatures I've seen don't worry about allegiance, let alone helping others. You clearly haven't seen enough. I know. That's what we're trying to understand. If you can control these creatures, can't you call this one off? I don't know. It doesn't work like that. Listen. There's a lot to explain, but the best way to say it is me and these things have some things in common. me and humans have some things in common. Let's leave it at that. Alright? I changed, but not how I thought I would. My Hail Mary didn't work. And right now, I'm trying to do everything I can to protect the ones I care about. If that means hunting down this creature, then yeah, I'm going to help. Endeavor staring at Deku, who currently does begin to walk down the road and try to think. And the man, he is concerned. Especially because if this thing, the creature pretending to be a man, if it is not acting, what does that mean for them? I mean, he heard about what happened at UA, the massive force that was exerted, and, well, he found this boy at UA. If he wanted to, he could probably tear him limb from limb. The heavy gun in his hand, could he get enough shots off on him? Maybe. Potentially. But that does still have him concerned. Currently, us having someone walk up to Endeavor and ask him if he's alright. I'm doing fine. Nagant, I'm just. You have that look on your face. Do I? Yes, you do. You're wondering if we can trust him? Shoto does. But I don't. Okay? But you trust your son. Of course I do. But this thing. I can still hear you. Deku turning. Before he has a wave Endeavor over. And Nagant does look at this. Her right now with the sniper rifle in her hand. And Izuku, he currently is bent down into the mud. Before he has to bring his hand down and pull up what looks to be some blood along with the mud. Talking about it. This is interesting. What is it? The scent is different. Fresher? I might be able to get a lead on it, but not really too sure. Though, look at the claws. The claws. The markings on the ground. What's different about them? Him looking down. Endeavor confused by what he should be seeing. But then it does hit him. This is a. There's footmarks, but looking ahead, him stepping forwards, and further down this narrow path of shrubs, along with overgrown grass in the area. He's trying to look at the ground. I mean, the path is rough, it's terrain that shouldn't be navigated, but the creature went this way. I mean, if that's the case, then where are the tracks? Him looking up and not seeing anything disturbed further down. Before Izuku just talk about it. It's trying to mislead them. You think so? I've met a creature like this before. Sneaky, crafty, and sadistic. I'll tell you right now. If you hear someone's voice you recognize, if they're not here, it's not them. And even then, keep the radio chatter to a minimum. They mess with radios. Do they? Yeah. Doesn't matter what station you're on or channel. Channel. It doesn't matter. If you're wearing one, it can track you. So either we gotta do this old school and stay in a group, because I'm not splitting up. We can, but I can hold my own. Can you? We should be fine. Are you sure? Oh, well, what do you think? Do you really want to leave them out there alone? The other two should be able to handle themselves. But what if they can't? Right. Um, have them go with him? Are you serious? I can use quirks. I'm fine. Then looking back at Deku, currently him bringing his hand up, and it does begin to glow. Before he has to turn it off, and then go to show off the claws. In Endeavor, he has a lot more questions about that now. Two different abilities, along with the added bonus from changing. Definitely a little terrifying. However, he has a turn facing away from Deku, feeling some needles up his spine as he does so. As the Gaunt and him, they do the head off, currently them going to drop their radios and tell the other two about what to do, informing them as to this plan. They're going to head out and be back here in 30 minutes. After that's all said and done, they'll come back around. And there is Izuku, who has already made his way into the forest. Him trying to follow the path this thing might have been trying to lead them down. And he does have a little bit of nostalgia. They've tried to hunt in these forests before. He knows the terrain a little bit. But still, sketchy, sketchy. It's weird now. He knows there's something out there, and it might not be trying to hunt him, but he's definitely trying to hunt it. And that, it does make Deku feel a little odd. Him making his way down the path before he hears a sound. Him turning and going to whistle. Before looking around. Him hearing a whistle back before he does stand there. Expressing, if it's out there, he's here. It responding, if it's out there, he's right here. And Deku, he does bring his hands up. Currently, him going to let out a massive scream. This being more akin to a roar. In Endeavor, he doesn't hear that sound. Him and Nagant looking at each other, along with the other two people with them. And they don't really know what to do. I mean, currently, Daniel, he's trying to figure this out. In his mind, if they get killed, it's not going to be pretty. I mean, they're out here with a creature, and it's known to be a manhunter. I mean, it does this shit for sport? It's a little creepy. But then there also is Reggie, who does talk about it. I mean, are they sure they should shh? Keep your voice down. Don't talk. It mimics. Does it? From what we heard. Listen, I don't know what he's doing, but if he's trying to draw it out, it'd be better for us. We're in a group. It shouldn't be able to get us. How sure of you on that? Not really too sure. But it might look at numbers. It may not know him. And let's currently cut over to Izuku. Endeavor and his team are on one side of the manor. Well, Deku, he went further down the road and is trying to get deeper into the forest. He's just a helpless, defenseless little human out here all on his own. And the big bad monster, it should love that. And we do have Deku. He made his way further and further out. However, nothing was found. He knows the creature's around here. He can hear it. He can hear it move, skitter around. And it's waiting for something. And that he doesn't like. If him and this thing are going to fight, he wants it to attack him. It's opportunistic, smart, intelligent. It would only fight if it knew there was blood. And Deku, he doesn't bring his hands up. Currently, him making claws and beginning to dig them into his arms. Before he does draw blood and begin to somewhat tear down slightly. Him doing so as he does begin to bleed. And the creature, it does begin to pick up on the smell. This odd sensation, the strange flavor in the air. And it currently does a turn. Currently, it skittering away and moving on all fours. Before it does go to make its way into a clearing and see Deku. Before he just stand there. Currently going to bring his hands up as if he's going to offer himself to the creature. And it does going to move forwards. Currently making its way into the light, and Deku, it does see the monstrosity. This gnarly beast. And it does going to stand there. Its head reattached. However, Deku stares at the human-like face. And the creature, it does go to turn. Right now, Deku's seeing that some of the parts of it are fresh, though he doesn't want to know where they came from, especially since they're adjusting to this creature. And that has him a little horrified. It's not just killing them, it's incorporating them. And that he's not too sure how to feel about. Though he does at least roar out the creature, expressing how it has an actual fight, a challenge for it to take on. And the creature stares at Deku, stepping forwards before going to talk. It's a monster. You're a monster. Maybe I am. What are you? Deku stepping forwards. And the creature, it does look at this monster in front of it. This thing shaped like a man. And Deku, he does go to step forwards, moving quickly as the creature, it does a rush towards itself. And Deku, he does draw blood, currently him knocking the creature in the face and sending it flying backwards. It's going to drag backwards, for it does a smash down and turn, before bringing up with its tendrils and sending it flying out at Deku. Deku bringing his hand out and grabbing it as it does try to wrap around his neck and around his face. And Deku does hold it with his arm. Currently, the creature trying to pull Deku towards him as does it throw out more tendrils, wrapping them around Deku's arms as he does go to use Black Whip. Currently, it shooting out of his arm and slicing into some of these things. The creature roaring out in a scream that Endeavor can tell doesn't sound human. And he does get a turn. Currently, him bringing his hand up and motioning for them to begin heading in that direction. However, he does get a turn. Nagant bring her hand up and stopping him, before telling him about how they might need to go back to the Humvee. If that person is encountering it, we should stay back. We might know what it's capable of, right? It nearly took out a city block. We don't know that. We don't know anything. Listen, we should stay back. If it can take on a deceiver, maybe it can handle this. I'm not sure. Let's get back over to Izuku, who right now does just stand there. And the deceiver, it does begin to move forwards. Deku, right now, going to stand there with his hands out as the creature, is a leap forward at amazing speed. It bring its hands out and immediately trying to take Deku's head off. Him going to move backwards and go to float. Currently, him flying towards the ground as Deceiver, it does go to smash its fist down in its hands and claws onto Deku. Deku bring his hand up and going to smash it across the face. Him watching the creature begin to fly directly into the ground. Before he has a turn and look at the cuts on his chest. It currently going to turn and scurry on all fours and then face at Deku. It going to fully stand and Deku doesn't watch its body unnaturally move. It almost looked like someone is messing with the limbs on a puppet. And the creature, it does go to begin emitting its tendrils and showing off exactly what's in its arsenal. And this, Deku does not like, since it and him have something in common. But he'd like that to be zero things in common. Now, it does go to send its tendrils flying towards Deku, him bringing his hands up and going to grab them. Before it does, try to pull Deku forward and send a tendril flying to hit his face. It going to slash it inside of his face as Deku does a dodge it with his head. It moving back around and spinning, right now grabbing and wrapping around Deku's neck. And as Deku, he does begin to start pulling. And when the creature starts to move towards Deku, it does do one thing. Deku, he begins to feel static in the air. Before he does, feel electricity run through his entire body. The creature zapping Deku as he does begin to feel a lot of pain. Him falling onto one knee and staying there. The creature increasing its grip and moving forwards, wrapping more tendrils around Izuku, and then going to pull him up in the air. Before it does, going to swing Deku, smashing him into the ground, and turn. The tendrils elongating and smashing him through a tree before smashing him in another one. Him laying there limply for the creature does mean to reel him in, and it does get a good look at Deku. Currently, him doing one thing. Going to have Black Whip shoot out of his arm and begin to tear into the tendril. It then branching off and slicing the tendrils, covering his body, and then going to shoot a spike directly into the creature's head. And the creature is going to stand there and impale his Deku to smash onto the ground, bring its own hand up and going to try and slash Deku. Currently, it's knocking Izuku's jaw off as he is sent flying. Him smashing onto the ground and sitting there for a minute, before sucking in a breath and tasting the air, along with feeling like he's missing some teeth. And that, it does alarm him. Currently, him turning, looking down and seeing the creature. Him trying to suck in a breath, but tasting and feeling blood. And that, it's definitely not fun. Now, Izuku does stare at this thing, which does stare back. It going to bring its hands up in a taunting gesture. And this does annoy him. The creature going to begin to move forwards for he is a leap to get Izuku and jump fast. Now, Deku, he has to throw his hands up, emitting Black Whip for he to shoot it outwards and as if it was a lasso. The creature going to see that and then try to throw its hands down. Currently, it throwing its legs over its head and trying to evade the attack. Before Deku is going to slice upwards and take off one of its arms. It currently going to turn and smash down, falling. And Izuku, he doesn't know how to kill this thing. He stabbed it in the brain. So taking the head, him bring Black Whip up. And it being to shape a bit more into a flat sword is going to need to be an option. Him throwing it out as it does grow elongate. The creature going to turn its body and take the hit in the rest of its shoulder before screaming out and turning. One of the tendrils flying out and trying to hit Deku in the wrist, though he has to move backwards and shift his body, currently sidestepping the attack and bring up his left arm before grabbing the tendril and pulling this thing forward, quickly slicing it off and letting go. Before he has to turn back and bring his hand out. Him going to throw his left hand out and hit it with a smash. And there currently is the loud sound that is going to perforate through the forest. And Endeavor does a turn. Currently, all of them feeling that. And we do have back over at the manor. Bakugo sat there on the steps, waiting. He was there with Kendo. And there actually even was where Setsuna, she stood there with Eri. She still had that gun in her hand. I mean, if worse comes to worse, they've got to run. And that's an idea. It's a scary one. I mean, where can she hide? Where can she go? In a month, she has to stay wherever she is. I mean, in a week, maybe? These thoughts running through her mind are scaring her. And we do actually have Tamaki, who does a walk up and bring his hand onto her shoulder, her turning to see him, as he does stand there and tell her that right now she needs to sit down. They'll be out here if anything changes. Take Eri inside. Well, he knows a place they could go. Just head there. It's been cleaned up, but it was the cellar, the wine storage. Yeah, just stay down there. I can block off the entrance and get you guys when everything's over. It doesn't know how many people are here. I don't think. I'll make sure to cover you guys' scent with something strong. You know. Thanks. Her turning before telling Eri to come along with her. And Tamaki himself does stand there a little scared, though whenever everyone heard that smash, it caught their attention. And there is actually Izuku, who does go to watch the Night Stalker be sent flying through and smashing through the forest, it hitting a tree and breaking right through it, before it does begin to pick up its broken body and turn, screaming out at Deku and being angry. And Endeavor and the team, they realize they're gonna need to step in, since that thing is letting out more and more of its power. And Deku does a step forwards. Right now, him shaking off his smoking fist, bringing his hand up and taunting the creature, since it wanted to fight. It wanted to hunt. But now, it's hunting an equal. A hunter versus hunter. And this, it's a fight for survival. This thing gonna fully turn and then go to hiss, before it is a rush at Deku and then go to attack. And Izuku does bring his hands up. Right now him getting ready. Currently, Black Whip covering his hands and claws before he has to throw them out. And as if he's painting the air, Black Whip does gonna manifest. Him bringing it out and then throwing it at the creature, trying to grab into its limbs. The creature does do one thing. It is to shoot tendrils directly out towards Izuku. Him going to bring his hand up and slice them away. Before there's a rush forwards, Deku slicing off its leg and watching it do one thing. It does continue to charge forwards. It throwing a tendril and grabbing its leg, pulling it directly back on. And this does alarm him. The creature going to throw his left arm out as Deku hears it bring his hand up. Currently, him gonna catch it as the creature does extend two of his fingers. Currently, a tendril shooting out of its wrist and Doki smashing into Deku's head. Him being struck by it, where he let go of the arm and bring his hand up, throwing out another smash. This one a lot more powerful. And the creature is sent blasting backwards. Currently, Deku going to stand there and feel the blood running down his head, feeling the anger, feeling rage, feeling mad. And this, it does begin to somewhat overtake him. Him looking around and panting, before seeing the destruction he's caused. And there is with the group, they do come walking up, seeing that the forest in front of Deku is destroyed. And it goes on for a few 100 yards. And that does alarm them. Deku's standing there covered in blood. He's incredibly wounded, but still standing. And the Night Stalker's nowhere to be seen, though Deku's covered in smoke. And this is what does draw Endeavor's attention. Currently, him moving forwards or hearing a sound. Him going to bring up his weapon and look around. The Night Stalker pulling itself up and out of some of the debris. It missing chunks of its body, but still active, still moving. And it does a turn. It weakly staring at Endeavor, who does go to turn to Deku. And Izuku, he has a look at the creature. It looking at Deku for realizing it does have more easy prey, beginning to charge them. And Endeavor, he does begin to unload looking at the creature. It being ripped apart, but still going to try and run him down. And the belt-fed machine gun is just spitting ammo at the creature. Him standing his ground as Deku does do one thing, throwing his hand out and going to grab this thing by the neck. As Endeavor, he does begin to riddle it full of bullets, along with the entire team. Now, they do go to watch the creature. It finally falling to the ground in his Endeavor, he does go to run up. Right now, him emptying the rest of the giant magazine into the creature, before bringing the weapon over his head and smashing down into its skull. And it isn't moving anymore. So that finally did kill it. And the man, he does stand there. Currently, him staring at Izuku, who does still have his hand covered in blood. And he does get a turn, talking about it. That was certainly something. What the fuck? I've never seen something that resilient. You're telling me. How many of those things are out there? I don't know. But if all of them are like that, we might have a bit of a problem. It has a quirk too, I think. Does it? It electrocuted me. It wasn't fun. Can't say I enjoyed it. But this is more serious than we thought. I need to do a few things. I need to get a little bit more. Them hearing a sound in the distance. And everyone at the manor, they do go to look up. Right now, them seeing a giant. Holy. Everyone beginning to move. Them trying to get inside and get out of the open. Since this, it does look bad. And there actually is where Deku, he has to turn his head. Him seeing a creature in the air that does come smashing down. And it does just not stand there, for Endeavor looks up. Him staring at a giant creature that does have wings. And it dwarfs him in size. Now, everyone, they do stare at that. And Deku, he immediately does get ready, bringing his hands up and charging them full of one for all. This beginning as he's beginning to hear a voice. It talking about it. Currently, them bring their arm around and then going to throw their body over. Them sliding down and landing before going to fully stand up, talking about it. And here he thought, he's seen everything. Hard person to track down. Hard person to find. Though the master told them that he'd be here. And Izuku just gonna stare at a man. A man whose eyes, they glow blue. Along that his body, he's on fire. Currently, Deku staring at the face of a man. At least he thinks it to be a man. I mean, he's covered in blue flames. And Endeavor stares at the zombie. This alarming to him. Before he does express, stepping forwards. The master wanted some of them to come out here and meet. They're oh so benevolent. Well, whatever he is. Who are you? Long story, though I'm sure Pops here can tell you. Him turning to Endeavor, and the man stares at this creature, and it looks unnatural. It doesn't look at all human. It bringing up its hands, which do have some exposed bone, talking about it. It's all very, very simple. Listen, he keeps hearing people talk about them going to war, fighting, and how Izuku, his little plans will keep going in motion. They're gonna give him one more chance. That's all. Join them. It could be easy. They do what they want, they kill what they want, they eat who they want. Sounds a bit like paradise if you ask him. Besides, there are perks of the job. Him throwing his finger over his shoulder, talking about it. Otherwise, his friend here, they might be sent after him. And Izuku stares at this large creature. It's almost like a dragon. Almost. It's misshapen in a way. He doesn't know how to describe it. In Endeavor, he has to hold up his weapon. Before the Man of Flames is to bring his hand up and point a finger gun at Endeavor, talking about it. Up, up, up. He might not want to do that. Besides, if he does, then things won't be easy for him. Endeavor is staring at this man. Before, he doesn't feel a burning sensation in his hands. Him letting go of his weapon as he steps backwards. His hands blistering and feeling the pain as he looked down at the gun, which turned red hot. And the man does begin to somewhat laugh, talking about how dear old dad would be proud of the tricks he does know. But at the same time, this is a bit of a reunion. I mean, come on. He came all the way out here with the Dragon Hero. Well, I guess Dragon now. Funny how that all turns out. And Deku stares at Dobby. Him looking at him before he does express. He did get a message though. He might want to hurry up. Time's a ticking. Besides, there's gonna be, let's just say, something off the shore. Doesn't really know what that means. But all he does know is whatever's gonna happen, tensions are rising. Well, that's about the extent of the message you got. Him in a turn, telling Endeavor that he'll tell Night Eye he said hi. And this is where he does a turn, bring his hand down and beginning to give instructions to the dragon. And the creature does begin to move. It turning away and beginning to walk on its dangly and gnarly looking figure. Currently, it taking flight and then going to move. And this, it does sort of alarm Deku. Him just staring at that. And Endeavor, he currently does have Nagant right there with him. Her wrapping up and bandaging his hands. And this, it does cause a bit of problems. Right now, them heading back over to the manor and trying to talk to everybody. Since, I mean, after everything that's happened, he's got to come a little clean. Deku needs them to get far away from here. I mean, assumably they're all at the hive. He takes it out, and that's that. They're just done for. They'll begin to go crazy, or they'll just lose their direction. He doesn't know. He wants them all to leave. Though at the same time, he's got to be a bit more careful with this. Them heading over to the manor. And right now there is for everybody, they do come back outside. The building is still standing, and that thing is gone. Though, whenever Deku does come walking up with the number two hero, Todoroki does look at his dad, who looks a little alarmed. I mean, he can't blame him after the shit they just saw, but he's got that distant look on his face. Perpetual doom. And this does have him a little terrified. As the man, he's muttering something under his breath. And Bakugo? Yeah. He does gotta look at that. Watching it and seeing it move away in the distance. And his mind's made up. And people, they do begin to talk. Izuku trying to tell them about a plan of his. People need to just evacuate. I mean, UA isn't safe, and this place might be on the radar. And people do begin to sort of argue. This place is safe. They're not the ones it's after. And Izuku, he wants to debate as to how true that statement is. No threats have been made to these people, to this group. But Deku keeps getting warnings. They're trying to deter him. They don't want him poking around. But why not attack him? Why not try to fight him? Why are they keeping their distance? And that's one of the thoughts going through his mind. As Deku, he does try and tell everybody about a plan he has. Though there is Bakugo, who does tell Izuku about what they're going to be doing right now. Right now, they have to take their injured and sick to see the doctor. So when that does happen, they're going to get everything sorted out, and then they're just gonna bunker down for a minute. So I'm gonna fall over. And this is where Kendo does a move forwards and grab Bakugo, who right now does gonna feel all that fatigue smash right into him. And Deku, he doesn't blame him. He's got that look on his face, one he's a little familiar with. And he does gonna turn to leave. Him trying to make a plan and figure out what to do. It's gonna be risky, dangerous, definitely crazy, possibly insane, definitely insane. And we do have later, Bakugo and the group, they headed to UA. The doctor began to stitch up Bakugo's face as the two are talking, going over what he saw and what exactly Bakugo needs to do. Well, he's doing this, telling him again to be quiet and not talk. Just shut up. Listen, I understand after everything you've seen. Not awful one, Jesus. Overhaul, going to tighten one of the stitches. Bakugo flinching, as he does express. However, he can't honestly think that what he's doing is right. As he said before, what they're doing right now is survival. It's, can you do what you can do to survive? I get that. I understand. Ow. Yes, you do understand. Don't try to give me a speech. Don't try to justify it. Just understand. Can you do that? Don't talk. Tell me. Thumbs up or thumbs down? I don't need you to open these stitches up. I have to spend more time fixing you. I already have more patience. Besides, their information could be valuable to my research. Him understanding. And there actually is where he does gonna stand. Currently walking over and looking at the scar in the mirror, looking at this sewed up wound. I mean, the side of his face is definitely gonna have a decoration when this heals. But after all of that, after everything, after you still need sleep. Listen, I woke you up for this because the process while you were asleep, putting you under, would cost us some resources we would rather not like to lose. Need to use them sparingly, you understand. I get it. I really do. But who who do you have do you have time to talk? No. Please get out. The man gonna turn. Currently Bakugo, walking on his kendo, does a stand. Her making her way into the office to try and talk to Chiziki, since she does have a lot she wants to go over with him. And right now there actually is Endeavor. He is making his way back to the bunker. He's got a lot of shit he wants to talk about, but he can't. A lot of explanations for things he's going to need to justify, and the fact that they got information. Along with that, they're bringing back the carcass of a creature so far no one's been able to either get or identify. If they know what it is, they'll know how to kill it. Though the parts they brought in, let's just put it this way, they could sufficiently fit into several meat pies. So that certainly was an accomplishment, if you don't want to give it that term, an endeavor. He does have a lot going through his head. Though we do cut back over to the manor. Everyone's beginning to settle in and cool down. Deku is making his plans over at UA. The manor is quiet. There's somebody on guard duty. There's Bakugo Katsuki, who does sit on the edge of the bed. He was able to sleep. Some. But he wasn't sure. I mean, he's a little terrified. A little worried. This group is getting better. But with Deku in their life, this city full of crazy zombies, and they're just getting crazier and crazier and crazier. This place is gonna get them all killed. He knows that now. Yeah, whatever. Take your chances in the countryside. He's heard that. But he knows a place to go. He knows a place to hide. And that's his plan for right now. As Bakugo, here's a turn. Standing up with a determination only a father could understand. He is going to have a family, and he wants them to be safe. Kendo told him. That's why she went to Dr. Chizaki. That's why she's been acting a little strange, a little odd. And he might just begin to understand Izuku a little bit more. Though he wishes he didn't take that many lives to do so. And currently he does begin to pack up. Kendo, well aware of the plan, and on the same terms as him. And we do have a little later. The two, they made their way outside, and everything was beginning to go underway. Though they were trying to figure stuff out. The lights were out, and people, they were happy and asleep. They had full stomachs, they were recovering, and some, they were working away into the night. Though we do have the person on guard duty. They do get a turn. Currently looking out, I'm going to try and look at the area with their scope. Tamaki staying there and going to inspect everywhere he needs to. There's nothing over there by the tree. There's nothing over there by the fence. Scanning the tree line. And, okay, he's fine there. He's gotta come back in another few minutes and check. Though, over by the front gate. Yeah, that should be fine. Him trying to blink some of the sleep he got earlier to life. Right now, walking over and then gonna look out towards the front gate. Currently seeing nothing there. Seeing nothing on the road, nothing over there. Hearing a sound. Looking down and seeing a truck. One of their trucks, packed up with supplies. I mean, what? Is that who's down there? Him trying to get aim, and then seeing Bakugo. Bakugo's taking one of the trucks out? Okay, that's odd. But wait, they have it loaded full of supplies. I'm gonna turn, taking the rifle, throwing it over his shoulder, quickly trying to get down to where they are. And Bakugo, him and Kendo are pushing the truck slowly down the road, making sure that they might not be heard. Start this thing up and haul ass out of here. That's a good way to raise alarms. Though, they're trying to make sure they leave no trace behind. They're only taking what they know they've gathered. They're light on food, they've got a decent amount of ammo, and Bakugo, he's taking some of the supplies. Some of them that he knows how to use. The medicines. I mean, he's taking the ones he knows he's scrounged up. It's going to be winter. They might get sick. He can't risk that. There's a lot of things he doesn't want to risk. He knows these people. That's why he's not going to take everything they can carry. Travel lighter than they should be. They'll get food at the bunker. And they'll head that way and see what happens over there. It's a plan. And that's at least a start. Though we do have here to hear a sound. Him turning and looking out. And he does see that there's someone out there by the house. Currently, him bring up his gun and going to aim. A little worried, since he does see that they're waving around something in their hand. And this does have him concerned. Right now, a light being shown on Bakugo. Him looking out and seeing... Who is that? Put it down. Bakugo, bring up the weapon. Hey, I don't want to do this. Just let us go. Alright? Bakugo, put the gun down. You don't want to do this. Someone going to overhear the commotion. And they do go to head out. Melissa stepping out and onto the patio. Her flipping on a light, and there is where Bakugo, he has to watch Tamaki turn his head, shifting a little too rapidly since he has to see the gun on his shoulder move. And this does alarm him. Bakugo pulling the trigger before the gunshot does ring out. And Melissa, she doesn't hear it, along with everybody at the manor. Currently, him stepping backwards and watching him hit the ground. Before he has a turn, running over to the truck and yelling at Kendo to get it started. And the two, they do begin to move down the road. Before, quickly, undoing the lock as people, they got outside, trying to see what was happening. And we do cut to the perspective of Todoroki. He was laying there with Momo, thinking about some of the information he heard today, thinking about a lot of things. She was soundly asleep. And then there's that gunshot. He turned. He jumped up and grabbed his shirt off the ground, tossing it on and then grabbing his weapon. Currently running outside and seeing a truck at the front gate, for looking down and running down the stairs. Currently seeing Melissa's sitting there holding onto a wound on Tamaki. As Tamaki, he looks dazed, confused. I mean, shit, what happened? I don't. He just. He was shot. What? What? No. Him turning, standing up as other people do come out, and he is trying to take notice. One of their trucks are missing. That one is hauling ass down the road. So, who the fuck is here and who the fuck isn't? Because that's about to narrow down what exactly he just might do. And this is where they do begin to search the manor. Todoroki making his way through and taking count of the heads who are here. Since they're new guest, they are the first people he strikes off that list of suspicion. And as the fuse does it a burn, he does go to open a door. Currently, it being an empty room. The blankets are gone. The pillows are gone. Hell, all the clothes are gone. There's just a note. And Todoroki, he stares at it. Currently, him turning and walking away from this room angry. And there is Bakugo. Bakugo, he feels regret for what he did. He feels bad. But that's survival. The world is man eat man. Quite literally. And as I turn, currently, Kendo bringing her hand out and grabbing onto his arm. As the truck, it does begin to move quickly through the night. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.